Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jeff, and today we're going to be taking a look at a Mustang that you may not have heard of. This is a 2009 Ford Mustang Iacocca. So there's a couple different bodywork differences that are hugely different on this car compared to the regular S197 generation, and we're going to be going through some of that today. So first and foremost, this car is finished in silver, which is perhaps the most famous color. Of course, Lee Iacocca did a commercial with this car when it first came out in 2009, limited to just 45 units produced, where he was cruising around in this car. If you're not familiar with Lee Iacocca, I should point out that he's generally considered the father of the Mustang, and he actually went on to even be the guy that would help convince Henry Ford to, of course, go racing at Le Mans, take the Ford GT40s and all that stuff. Later, he would actually go to Chrysler, where he would also help revive what was essentially a drowning company. So let's go back to the Mustang here. So just taking a look at the front of it, we have a little bit of a more aggressive overhang. It was kind of built in partnership. Iacocca didn't do all of this himself. It wasn't something done through Ford per se. It was something more so done on the side. And it was actually designed by a guy named Michael Leone in partnership with a metalworking company, all of which there's a plaque on the inside that we'll show in a sec. And basically they built the metalwork for this car and had Iacocca involved as a partnership, but they also had a very good relationship with Ford. So in addition to changing some of the cosmetics and some of the things that are going on here, what you'll find power plant wise is you actually had two different options. You could stick with the regular 4.6 liter 3-valve that came from the Ford Mustang originally, or there was an upgraded option, which this car has, which is a 400 horsepower Ford Performance supercharged 4.6 liter V8. The other cool thing about these cars is they're also equipped with manuals. So every single car, all 45 special edition cars, were all sold with the manual transmission, which I think is a pretty cool touch as far as performance cars go. Over here, we have an absolutely massive set of wheels that to me look very Mopar reminiscent. These are 20-inch wheels that are, of course, again, made custom for this car. We even have a little eye in the middle, of course, again, for Iacocca, reminding us some of the differences. And underneath, one of the things that's cool about this car is it actually has the Ford Performance suspension packages as well, and some of the brake kits for these cars. So there's a little bit of added performance, not just the cosmetic differences, but the biggest cosmetic difference is going to be what you'll find actually in the rear with the general sloping pattern. So if you look at kind of at the side profile of the car, what you'll notice is the fastback is now elongated. One of the things they've done is these rear quarter vents are now pushed in a little bit, and then the fastback profile goes all the way to the rear deck lid of the trunk, which is a pretty cool thing. It's almost very reminiscent of, let's say, the 67 Ford Mustang and things like that. Very cool car. It's sort of a very different presence that you may not notice if you're not overly familiar with this car. While the glass is very flush, it's pretty well done. And then of course in the interior, along with our manual transmission, we have a cool plaque in the middle that talks about the Iacocca Mustang, along with a slightly updated interior and some very subtle differences, but it's very clearly still an S197 Mustang on the inside. So it's a pretty cool Mustang. It's not something you see very often. Every single one of these was actually sold through Galpin Ford, and they were, I think the asking price was somewhere in the neighborhood of around $90,000, of which currently these cars still tend to trade hands from anywhere to $70,000 to $90,000. So it's still pretty similar value, even though they only built 45 of them. Most people aren't overly familiar with these cars, and I will say the silver metallic in this car is just spectacular. But it's a very cool car. You don't see many of them, and it stands out a little bit. It's fairly subtle. You might not notice it if it was just driving, but if you just take a second longer to look at it, it's a pretty cool detail. So that's a quick look at the Iacocca Mustang. If you guys are looking for a collector car for yourself, be sure to check out autohunter.com, which is our online auction with cars going live every single weekday, or ClassicCars.com, which is our online marketplace, which has over 30,000 cars currently live on the site. If you enjoyed the video, could hit that like button for us, we'd really appreciate it. And consider getting subscribed for more content like this in the future. Thanks so much for watching.